everyone, and welcome to Voices of Hope. I'm Ross Wilsey.
And I'm Mike Wade.
Each episode, we sit down to talk about what it means to live well, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and beyond.
We'll look at how wellness shapes us as individuals, families, communities, and even the wider world around us.
Through real stories and honest conversations, we'll explore what hope looks like and how it grows right here in the New River Valley.
Thanks for joining us. This is Voices of Hope.
Colleen Clifford is a commercial fisherwoman, health coach, author, and mental health advocate. After losing her husband to alcohol-related suicide and facing her own dangerous relationship with drinking, Colleen made a life-changing decision to chart a different course. Through her book, Life Beyond the Binge, podcast interviews, and speaking engagements, she shares her journey and encourages others to believe that change is possible, no matter where they're starting from. Colleen, thank you so much for being part of the Voices of Hope podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Good. Well, we've offered our audience a little bit of a teaser about you in the intro for today's episode, but would you mind taking just a moment to share a little bit more about yourself, things like your background, your education, anything else you'd like to share?
Sure, absolutely. I commercially fish. I've been a commercial fisherwoman for 3 decades, almost 4, which is hard for me to believe. Through my fishing experience, I get a lot of time off, and so at one point around 2010, I was very interested in becoming a health coach, and so I went to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition and received that certification. And through other journeys, I've also received alcohol-free coaching. So I've never had formal education, although it's not out of the game. I can still go back to college, right? As an adult.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just might. I love to learn.
Nice.
And where is home for you, Colleen?
I'm in the Pacific Northwest
Okay.
near Seattle.
Ah, fantastic.
It is.
My wife and I love the Pacific Northwest. And so can you give me any insider information? Like if we were to someday move there, where should we move?
Bellingham.
Oh, Bellingham. Okay.
Yeah,
We haven't been
yeah.
there, but I know where you're talking about.
Yeah, I would move there. Maybe someday I'll live there again. I went there. I actually was a college student for 2 years, but then I dropped out because of my binge drinking. And I have a brother that lives there now, and
Okay.
I love it. I just love Bellingham.
Yeah.
We'll have to reach out to the Bellingham Chamber of Commerce to see if they might want to sponsor this episode.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not? So there is obviously a lot that we want to get to in this conversation, Colleen, but I do think our listeners would be very curious to learn about your experiences as a commercial fisherwoman. I know I certainly am, and how that all came to be.
I love that. Definitely. So it came to be as a college dropout, my girlfriend was fishing and she offered, the opportunity. She said, "Hey, Call, you want to come fishing?" And it sounded like a lot of fun. This is back in 87, so quite a while ago.
Okay.
And yeah, so I'm always up for an adventure, and it sounded way better than my word processing job I had sitting at a desk. So I signed up and off I went. When my parents dropped me off, I felt like a kid going to my first day at school. And honestly, nobody at the time knew what commercial fishing was. Actually, nobody knew for a number of years until the internet really took off. And because if you can imagine, we're fishing up in the Bering Sea near Russia, off the coast of Alaska for the United
Mm-hmm.
States, but we go as far as the Russia border. And then there's Japan. And so we're in that Bering Sea where the Deadliest Catch guys
Yeah.
fish, if
Yeah.
anyone's familiar with that show. And those guys are pretty badass, to be honest. We are too, but our ship is a bigger vessel, so we're not quite so, we can't touch the water with our hands like they can. And I prefer it that way. Honestly, I crab fished once and that was enough for me. I have all the respect, so much respect for those people that do that. But our boat our ship, I should say, catches the fish in large nets, and
Mhm.
then we have a factory on board, and so it's called a factory processor. So our ship holds about 150 to 165 individuals.
Wow.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
really a Yeah, it's a real big vessel. A lot of people aren't really, they think of a boat like, oh, just 5 people. But this is an industry that has these size of vessels. And so it's a big operation. It's like a little community in a capsule on the ocean.
Yeah.
And it's just an interesting dynamic. It's an interesting reality because that's what you feel like when you're living on board the ship. You're protected by the elements outside. Sometimes it's beautiful, sometimes it's really tumultuous, and
Hmm.
you're just kind of living in that environment and working and sleeping and
Yeah.
until you get off it. So it's kind
Wow.
of a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's the actual words I was about to say was that this is such a different life than anything I could possibly know. But I would imagine that it's very demanding in lots of ways, physically and otherwise. And so I'd imagine it may have had an impact on you. What types of ways did it have an impact on you?
Yeah, well, I'm still living it, and so it does still impact me.
Yeah.
I'm still fishing. I'm
Okay.
I'm phasing out of I only have a few more years and then I'm retiring from that. But
And it's been what, about 30 years? Is that
it's
correct?
36.
36. Okay.
Okay.
37.
Wow.
I always
Wow.
have I continually have to I can't believe it. So I'm terrible with math. So I'm like, that can't be true. That can't be true. But I, I think it's true. Which is shocking for me. But anyway, yeah, it is demanding, but quite honestly, it's a great I think people either realize right away whether it's for them or not, this type of job, this type of life. And the beautiful things about it are that it provides a lot of space because you're working, but you still have time. When you have your free time, you don't have the distractions of life like we have on land. And so, honestly, what it provides me, well, provides discipline. Provides a great income. It provides freedom when you're home. You do miss a lot on land with family, what have you, because you're gone. But when you return, you can be completely present because I'm not working when I'm off the boat.
Hmm.
And so when you're on the boat, actually, I'm more productive in the sense of if I want to write something, I practice, I bring up a musical instrument. I'm more disciplined in my day because I don't have the distractions that you have on land
Right.
with obligations and all that kind of stuff. So it's provided, obviously, I've stuck with it for all these years. So it's provided me a wonderful career, just a wonderful life within the hardships. I mean, it's not all roses
Yeah.
and what do they say, puppy dogs and roses, but but it's every occupation has its pros and cons. So I would
Sure.
say this one's provided a lot more pros than cons for me.
Nice.
That's great. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So we're going to switch gears quite a bit here, Colleen. And we noted in the intro that you've experienced the loss of your husband. If you're comfortable doing so, would you mind going into that a bit more?
Absolutely. And I appreciate you bringing it up. That's why I'm here on these platforms, is to talk about
Hmm.
this. And what is this? So my husband passed 14 years ago, almost 15, from alcohol related suicide. And within my grief journey and that complete experience that I don't think one ever gets over, but one learns how to live with it, hopefully in a healthy way, right? Because it's very impactful, as
Hmm.
anyone could imagine, or if anyone's experienced it, they know what I'm talking about. So the reason I'm here is to bring up an awareness around suicide, and also the awareness that there is a 988 helpline
Yeah.
for anyone having a crisis. It doesn't necessarily need to be a suicide ideation, but any kind of crisis. And then there's also a 988 helpline for veterans.
Hmm.
So one thing I like to bring to awareness too is that maybe some people aren't familiar with I've been asked, what is alcohol related suicide? And the way I like to explain it is that within the year, it's estimated from I believe it's the CDC, that there's approximately 59,000 deaths a year due to binge drinking.
Yeah.
And within that number, and each of those numbers is a human being, which kind of hits it home even more
Yeah.
of how many people die each year.
Mm-hmm.
And binge drinking is within that category is suicides, accidents, violence, and overdoses. I guess like kind of like accidental overdoses from over
Right.
drinking, and his death is in that category. So, the thing with mental health and depression and then drinking, I believe it pushed him over the edge to not be in his head completely. I think if alcohol was not related to that moment, he could have possibly gotten through whatever pain he was experiencing at the time he died. I don't know,
Hmm.
but uh I do know that I did not marry a depressed individual, and that depression happened from some circumstances out of his control, which were both his parents died relatively close to each other within 4 months.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and we were very close to his parents, and obviously they were his parents. So he didn't have the tools to handle that space he was in,
Mm-hmm.
and it just spiraled downward, and I didn't have the tools to know what to look for. I didn't, you just know what you know at the time, right?
Right.
Hmm.
Looking back, of
Hmm.
course, I would do things some things differently, but at the time I didn't understand how serious his space was,
Mm.
his mental space.
Wow.
Hmm.
Well, I'm so sorry. That sounds like such a difficult thing to go through.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I have a family member now who's going through their own grief process.
Mm.
And so I'm just curious if you could tell us a little bit about kind of the trajectory of your grief following your husband's death and how you've managed to go through that.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's always great looking back. I would say I distracted myself in the beginning because it was so traumatic, and my world got thrown up in the air with his death, meaning, we had horses to take care of, dogs. I mean, just the minutia, the stuff you have to go through when your spouse or someone, well, especially your spouse dies.
Mm-hmm.
It shifted a lot of my reality, material and internally. And so I wouldn't say that being distracted is the healthiest way to deal with it, but I think I had to compartmentalize my reality because otherwise it'd be overwhelming and I wouldn't be able to move.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that nature life kind of gives us the, whether we know it or not, kind of these tools of coping that where you can handle your grief in snippets, like it would hit me in certain. So looking back, I would offer someone to consider getting some kind of help if it's through your family or your friends if you need it, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
a
Hmm.
sounding board of someone to speak to. I did not really do that. I People would check in on me, "Are you okay?" And I'd say, "Yeah," but I didn't really have a conversation about whether I was okay or not. On
Mm-hmm.
the
Right.
outside, I was showing this like, "Oh, I've got it all together. I've got it. I'm okay. I can figure this out."
Yeah.
And looking back, I think if anything similar would happen to me now, I would hope that I would have the courage and the willingness to ask for some sort of help,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like.
Right. Right. Well, you talked about your husband's struggles with alcohol, and I'm curious as to how his death may have changed or affected your own relationship with alcohol.
Yeah, so I didn't realize the level of drinking he was doing at the time
Hmm.
he died. So prior to that, I was drinking with him on occasion, right? And sometimes we might overdo it, sometimes not. But after he died and I was on the boat when he died and I got home and I saw the garbage cans of empty bottles, I thought, wow, he was hitting it hard.
Right.
And so I think his drinking amped up, I was unaware of the amping up of his drinking. Uh, and obviously it's what probably, I believe it's what helped him spiral even further in his depression was the alcohol, because it is a depressant and on
Mhm.
top of depression. So for me, I wasn't drinking honestly at the time that he died. I had taken a step back from it. And so I would I would offer to any listeners that I'm so grateful I wasn't, because I don't think alcohol would have helped me through my grief journey either.
Mhm.
And I think not drinking helped me tremendously. It wasn't until 2 years or 3 after he died when all the distractions were handled and I had nothing to distract myself with except maybe my job. And then I fell into my own depression and I started drinking. And this is what I would not recommend anyone do, but I kinda had a what the F moment in life, like,
Mhm.
what's life about?
Mhm.
I can't believe this happened. My whole world's a different reality, and I just I remember the day I went to the store and bought a six-pack and started drinking again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. And so then from there, I assume it progressed to a point that you realized at some point was not healthy?
Exactly. I as a binge drinker, and I maybe should define binge drinking if your audience doesn't know. It's 4 or more drinks for a woman or 5 or more for a male
Mhm.
in a 2-hour period or in a, on an occasion, meaning you
Yeah.
could be
Mhm.
watching football or whatever. And so for me, after I started drinking again, I've always been a binge drinker. I've never been a daily drinker.
Mhm.
And so because of that, I could deny that the type of drinking I did was a problem because I didn't drink all the time.
Right.
And when I drank, I didn't always drink too much. And so for years, so after I picked up alcohol again, and probably about 8 years, I thought I had it under control. I air quote that because, do we ever really have our drinking under control? That's
Mhm.
the question I like to ask. But
Right.
and so what happened, and I had a instance where I was shocked because I was unplanned drinking incident of binge drinking, which oftentimes we don't start our day planning to get trashed and do something out of character,
Yeah.
but that's what happened. And so that day I drank too much unexpectedly at a Sunday barbecue at my best friend's party. And before I knew it, it was midnight and I drove home drunk.
Mm.
This was 5 years ago.
Wow. Well.
And I always apologize. I like to apologize at this point for anyone who's been affected by a drunk driver.
Mm.
It's one of a moment in my life, obviously, I'm not proud of. Uh, but what I like to share is a couple things that I'm doing my penance, but I have to say it scared me straight. In my drinking, I didn't hit rock bottom, but I realized in that moment the next day that I got off so easy. I didn't kill anyone. I didn't even get a ticket. I didn't, the only thing that happened was I had a hangover. And that moment could have I mean that whole experience could have flipped someone's world upside down or my world, and I got off the hook so easily that I said, I need to change.
Yeah. Well, I'm just was struck by the fact that you, um, nothing happened to you to change your course there, other than the fact that you recognized this could have gone horribly wrong, and thankfully it didn't. But so many people may have seen that play out in their life and think, well, nothing bad happened, so I'm just going to do that again. Um, so, what do you think it was that for you that made you kind of realize that and realize you needed to make some changes?
I really appreciate you acknowledging that because quite honestly, I'm very proud of myself. It was
Hmm.
probably one of the more shameful moments of my life, but I instead of burying it and hiding it from the world, I'm speaking from that place of that shame but also sharing the message that I just when I drove home and I realized how drunk I was, I didn't know I was that drunk when I left. And that's the thing with alcohol, some people don't maybe know, is that when you're drinking, it doesn't always hit you until later. It takes a while for it to get through your body, your brain. And so when I left the party, I thought I could drive, even though obviously I shouldn't have drove. But when you're drunk, you don't realize how drunk you are. And so when I was nearly home, I saw a double line, and that's when I knew I was drunk. I mean, isn't that
Yeah.
ridiculous? So I thought, "Oh my god, I'm drunk." Like, duh. Ding, ding, ding. And then I said a prayer, "Get me home safely." And of course, I should have pulled over, but I was just almost home. So I'm like, "I'm not gonna bother my partner. I just get me home. I swear to God, I'll quit." And I woke up, the next day, my partner obviously was looking at me like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
Like, this is 5 years ago. I'm 58 years old. I was like, "I don't know what happened." Like, this isn't who I want to become. And so I really had to look at binge drinking and what is binge drinking. And there's this wild card in alcohol related things that alcohol related moments
Hmm.
that can, and I call it the wild card because you never know when it's going to flip over. And no one sets out on a day of drinking saying, this is the day I'm going to mess up my life forever.
Right.
But in partying, things can go south,
Sure.
and sometimes your life is never the same.
Right.
And this was one of those moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was it from that day forward that you decided alcohol is not for me? It's not something I can do?
Yep. I decided that if I don't want to ever have this opportunity again, I need to eliminate the problem, and it was alcohol. Whether I
Yeah.
drink it once every 5 months or every weekend, it's alcohol.
Hmm.
So yes, that was the decision I made at that point.
Yeah. And what kind of, if any, type of treatment or supports did you utilize or have you utilized since that time?
Yeah, so in that moment, I Googled alcohol help, right? As
Mhm.
anyone would probably do. And
Yeah.
uh, top of the Google search was a gal that was offering a 30-day alcohol free experiment, she called it. So that was kind of like a soft way of entrance. And so I joined her alcohol free experiment and didn't have success the first month, didn't have success the second time. And so then I joined her program. And
Is this Annie Grace?
it is Annie Grace.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And so through that community and the coaching within her program, I was able to shift my mindset. And yeah, here I am.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. Um, so in addition to maintaining your career as a commercial fisherwoman, you also now are an author and a speaker,
Yes.
which is really cool. Um,
Thank you.
so yeah, so in doing that work, what are some of the key messages that you're trying to convey to your audiences, whether it's someone that's reading your book or someone that's in an audience where you're speaking?
Yeah, there's a couple of, I mean, there's a number of them, but the ones I would like to really focus on is coming from a non-judgmental place. But for anyone out there questioning a behavior they're doing that they don't like, it doesn't necessarily need to be alcohol. How is it working for you?
Hmm.
To just ask yourselves that question. And I've also come to learn that within my journey and uncovering where it all began for me, I realized that a lot of us, I believe, have a story beneath our behavior, meaning our behavior is our coping mechanism to help us feel good, whatever we're masking. And it can be a number of things, whatever, eating, drinking, gambling, sex addiction, whatever.
Hmm.
So if you're doing something that is not helping you become the best version of yourself, maybe ask yourself the question, how is it working for you? And then ask yourself the question, well, how can I begin to change?
Hmm. Those are great questions.
Yeah.
And
And
that's not,
it'll,
that's, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's gonna look different for everyone, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
And that's
Yeah,
exactly the kind of thing that Mike and I are trying to put out there is those types of questions that we can sort of think through and ask ourselves and hopefully improve our life in some little way, or a big way.
exactly.
Yeah. So I guess on that note, how do you maintain your personal wellness? I heard you mention music earlier. Mike and I are
Mhm.
both musicians.
Oh,
Uh, it's a
I'm a
little bit.
musician wannabe. That's
Okay.
awesome.
So maybe that's part of it. Just anything you do
Yes.
to sort of maintain your overall wellness.
Yes. So connection is really key for me, my family, and and identifying who my friends are, my true friends.
Hmm.
And so I maintain those relationships. That's number one for me. Then number two is having my own time. Like, I'm striving to be better at everything I'm doing or improve to become the best version of me. And so fortunately I'm very disciplined. So I'm happy that I get myself on doing something consecutively because that's how we improve is with practice. But and I'm also very spiritual. So I think incorporating time connecting with my spirituality every day is key. Those are things I really try every day to incorporate into my life. And then the
Hmm.
rest is just trying to be present in all my interactions,
Yeah.
even going to the store and talking to the cashier and just being present because kindness, I think, is the key to a happy and long life. And it doesn't cost anything. And so I love to make people smile. So I think those are my things I do. And then the day's over and it's another day.
Right.
Yeah.
Love
I mean,
it.
I don't do all those things every day, but I those are on the top of my list of what I try to do.
I especially like that you put connection and maintaining your relationships as number one. That's a huge thing.
Mm,
So important.
it
And
is.
if you're flying under the flag of kindness, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
And don't you think, you guys, that there's a lot of kind people in the world if we unplug from the news?
Hmm.
Uh, there's really a lot of really kind and genuine people
Yeah.
out there.
Absolutely. Yep.
Ross and I spend a lot of time talking about that very thing.
Mm,
Disconnecting and getting away from the madness that is, popular media and all the things that we get connected to through our phones and otherwise. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
mm,
it's consumed us as a society, and we've really got to be more intentional about stepping back from that stuff.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Colleen, you are a guest on the podcast called Voices of Hope. So we must ask you, as we ask all of our guests, what does the word hope mean to you?
And I love your podcast.
Thank you.
Hope means to me, even in your worst moment of life, of tragedy, especially because that's usually where we can feel the most hopeless. Ironically, I believe there is a silver lining through tragedy, and if we're willing to move through it and look back at it, there are glimmers of hope through the journey. Like, for instance, my experience with my late husband, I never thought I'd be here today sharing a message through for him, and for me it's, keeping a promise. And the message is that hope is there. As tragic as his death was, we are, and I say we because I believe he's with me in this journey.
Hmm.
Through his death, we're sharing that there is hope beyond tragedy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, well, we are wrapping it up. So I just want to ask you one final question, Colleen. Do you have any final words of wisdom for our listeners?
I just try to tell this to myself in my day in life that not to take life so seriously. I think a lot of us, especially as I'm getting into my later years, I defined myself by what I was doing in my occupation more so than who I am as a human being.
Hmm.
And I think sometimes we just get caught up in the seriousness of our jobs and what we're doing and letting that define us. But if it's possible, just like have more fun and don't take life so seriously.
Yeah, I like that.
Those are very wise words, Colleen.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Well, I think you get the prize so far for being our first left coast guest. I think you're the first person we've interviewed from the West Coast, so that's pretty exciting.
Yay.
Yeah. So thank you, and you've been just so generous with your time, your insight, and we appreciate your candor and your honesty and just your willingness to share with us. It's been great, and I know our listeners are going to love this episode.
Oh, I hope so. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks for listening to Voices of Hope.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, we'd love for you to rate and review the podcast and help us spread the word.
Voices of Hope is a production of New River Valley Community Services.
To learn more or listen to past episodes, visit nrvcs.org/podcast.
And remember, hope grows when we share it.
So keep the conversation going, and we'll talk to you next time on Voices of Hope.